Good evening and welcome to the hour dedicated to talking about things strange, weird, and paranormal. You're listening to Strange Talk, broadcasting on 1660 AM in Northside, 91.7 FM HD2 to WVXU in Cincinnati. We're also streaming at radioartifact.com around the entire planet Earth. The intro track to this episode and most of our episodes is the Strange Talk intro by Star Silk. I'm your host, Alyx, and I have a very special guest tonight if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hey, how you doing tonight? My name is Brian Bateman. And I used to live in Cincinnati, actually. I have a Cincinnati connection, and I wrote for a radio guy named Gary Burbank in Cincinnati in the early 2000s to his retirement in 2007, and now live in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that has gone on in my home this evening. How are you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm hoping you're now living in a house that is not haunted.
No, so the house we live in now is haunted.
The house you live in now is haunted?
Yes.
Okay, so you still live in the haunted house.
I still live in the haunted house. Yeah, people think that I moved in, stuff happened, I moved out, but no.
You're living with it.
We live with it. Yeah. Amazing. So, if you want me to, I can just kind of get into it.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I will kind of go back to the Cincinnati connection because this actually has a lot to do with this story. So when I wrote for Gary Burbank living in Cincinnati, it was like the best job like I could ever have. My dad was a fan of Gary Burbank.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was younger, I'd always hear Gary Burbank in the car. And so basically I started kind of prank calling the show. And then I got kind of known as like the weird prank caller guy. And then eventually Gary asked me to write for him. And it was like a dream come true. I mean, my dad loved this guy. I'm writing comedy for this guy. I'm a stay-at-home dad at the time, so I'm getting paid to do something I have a passion for, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in 2007, Gary retired. And now that I think about it, it's like, oh boy, was it for my writing the reason he retired? No, I hope not. No, I was one of many writers, so I wasn't alone in that. But anyway, so when he retired in 2007, it was like, it was a bummer, because I, being a creative type person, that outlet for the creativity was kind of extinguished in my brain because I just couldn't write comedy anymore. But the thing is, I was also a stay-at-home dad. Mm-hmm. So to be able to be a stay-at-home parent after your wife's job takes off, it was a great place to be. I wasn't working full time to pay for daycare. I was at home making giant pancakes, watching SpongeBob SquarePants with the kids. Not a bad gig, right?
Not a bad gig at all.
Right. So that's the year I got a tattoo on my wrist. Uh-huh. It was a 4-leaf clover tattoo. And I got it because I figured in that year I needed a job, to get luck to get a job like that again, but also that I'm lucky to be a stay-at-home parent. So Anyway, jump forward to this house. Okay, so we moved to Cincinnati after my wife gets a promotion. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, moved to Fort Worth after she gets a promotion. Not Fort Worth, Frisco, Texas, after she gets a promotion. A lot of places we've lived.
Yeah.
That's what brought us to Texas, was her promotion, basically. Anyway, the kids, I'm a stay-at-home dad here now.
Oh, you still there?
House, so we decided to downsize, and we found this house. We always loved Fort Worth, and we found this house in Fort Worth. It was a 1,600, or it is a 1,600 square foot craftsman bungalow built in 1911. It's got the original wood floors, the original box beams, pocket doors, tub, sink, built-ins. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful home. And when I walked into the house, I felt this immediate comfort, this immediate warmth and love, and I felt like I was at home. Like, I told my wife immediately, I'm like, I can see myself living here. This is the house. This is it. I just was so sure, and I don't know why I was so sure, because we had looked at other houses in this area as well. So anyway, we move in, and our dog, who's a 10-year-old dachshund, won't sleep in our bedroom on his dog bed, which he had done in all the houses we lived in previously with him. So it was super unusual for our dog not to want to sleep in his bed with us in our bedroom. He'd always go to the front part of the house every night. So after that happened, some other things happened, and I started researching the history of the house, because I'm trying to think, like, well, if something weird's happening here, you might want to figure out who lived here, and maybe that will answer some of the questions of what's going on now, right? So I joined newspapers.com, archives, and ancestry.com, and I started doing some digging and investigating who had lived here. And I found a man named Harold Monroe. Mm-hmm. Harold Monroe actually was a former writer who passed away in my family room on March 17th, 1977 at 11:11 p.m. on that St. Patrick's Day.
Wow.
So being a stay-at-home parent, I don't know, when you get out and your kids are grown, you're done with your duties. I felt extremely lost for the past several years of trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. So after finding out about Harold and I don't believe in coincidence anymore. I used to, but not anymore after this. I went insane with the research, and I started researching everything about this house and everybody who lived here and who they were and what they did, and if they had kids and what their kids did. And I mean, I went really crazy with the research. And then that's when I found out that 5 people in total had passed away in the home. Wow. The first person that passed away in the home has an interesting Ohio connection. He was born in Claremont County, Ohio, but then moved to Indiana and lived in Metamora, Indiana. But he was a former Union soldier. He passed away in my bedroom on January 18th, 1914, and his name was Elisha Morford. Elisha was in the Indiana 68th Regiment, Company C, and saw a lot of action in the Civil War. And then the next person I found out who passed away in my home, this is where it gets a little crazy. Her name was Anna Lubbock Kennedy, and she was the daughter of the Republic of Texas, because Anna was born in 1844 when Texas was a republic. Mm-hmm. And if you know the name Lubbock, it's because her father was Thomas Saltus Lubbock, who the town Lubbock, Texas is named for. And Thomas Saltus Lubbock was a part of Terry's Texas Rangers who fought for the Confederates in the Civil War against Elisha Morford's Indiana 68th at the Battle of Chickamauga, which is the second bloodiest battle in the Civil War. And that's our bedroom.
Wow.
My wife heard a voice of a man say, "Hey," in that room. She thought it was me, but I was actually in the TV room watching television. It actually woke her out of a sleep. She said it sounded like me yelling, "Hey," like, "Hey," The paranormal people that have been to this home now 4 times actually caught 2 whispers in our bedroom of somebody whispering, "Hey." And then, of course, the dog wouldn't sleep in that room. The TVs turn on and off in that room. So that would be the 2 people that passed in the bedroom. And then the third person who passed in the house was the writer I told you about, Harold Monroe. Mm-hmm. Now, Harold was born in 1905 in Massachusetts. He was actually born the name Prince Monroe Carlisle. And his first writing job was for the Fall River News in Fall River, Massachusetts. I'll call him Harold Monroe just because, he changed his name to Harold Monroe and it makes it easier and that was confusing for the story. But anyway, when Harold lived in Fall River, he would see Lizzie Borden as an older woman being taunted by school children walking down the streets of Fall River saying Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. Yeah. So he always had an obsession with the Lizzie Borden trial because he lived in Fall River, Massachusetts. Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting. Then he wrote for the New York Times for 5 years. He wrote for the Denver Post, the San Francisco Chronicle, and then he wrote here for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram with a daily column for many years. And then he retired, but still wrote a weekly column until his passing. Actually, the day he was editing his final column on Friday, March 17th, 1977, he went down to the Star-Telegram office, which is a couple of miles from here, edited the final column unknowingly to him, said goodbye to a long-term coworker, and came back to this house and passed away in my family room, St. Patrick's Day, March 1977 at 11:11 p.m., which I found out too is some kind of angelic number apparently, because he was really religious in real life. So I'm learning all this new stuff that I'm not a paranormal investigator, so like, when we have people come in my house, they just kind of, but see, I did all the research of the history, so it's great when they come, because if their equipment gets something relative, or I know.
You can explain why they're getting that,
Yes, yeah, because I literally spent months and months and like hours and hours just researching on newspapers.com and Ancestry. And then, so the fourth person to pass in the home then was Harold's wife, Martha. So she obviously was a widow after he passes. Then she has a boyfriend move in the late 80s named Walt. So it was Walt and Martha in the house for a while. But Martha passes away also in my family room, not far from where Harold passed in 1977. And she passed away on October 31st, 2009, which is Halloween. So it's a very, Anna Lubbock Kennedy passed away December 26th, Harold St. Patrick's Day, Martha, Halloween. So who knows? Maybe I'll pass on Thanksgiving.
I was going to say, do you get nervous around holidays now where you're like, maybe let's not be on the house during holidays?
A Flag Day passing might be cool.
Yeah, got to get Flag Day on the map.
But then, so then Martha leaves the house rent-free to Walt. And then Walt passes away in my guest room February 3rd, 2023. We move in February 4th, 2024, almost a year to the day later, and then our dog won't sleep in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So as I'm investigating my house and the people that lived here, and the paranormal investigators are doing their thing, and catching a lot of interesting things, I also found out some unfortunate things that I wasn't looking for when I was researching my home. I guess we could get into that if you want. If you have questions about any of the first stuff, just let me know. It's a lot. There's a lot to cover in this. So
it has a long and storied history. So when you first moved in, you weren't getting any paranormal activity at first, or like what kind of prompted where you started bringing in paranormal investigators, or are we getting to that?
The dog wouldn't sleep in the bedroom at first. So that was the first sign that something was weird here, and that was right off the bat. And then my wife was in the backyard about a month later in March, and she was walking towards the back door and noticed that the curtain in the bathroom was pulled back, like somebody was peeping out and like looking at her. Then 2 weeks after that, 3 of the curtains in the bathroom all were pulled back equally. It was really weird. And then she was in the kitchen working one time on the floors before we had them refinished, and a dog bowl, a little plastic dog bowl we use for our dogs when we travel with them, was in the middle of the floor. The dog had just eaten or something, but it was empty. And she heard a noise and looked over, and she caught the tail end of the dog bowl spinning on its own.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that really kind of freaked her out. So she called me into the kitchen for that one. Then I started kind of reaching out to paranormal groups at that point.
Yeah.
Trying to think like, okay, does somebody have equipment they can bring in and kind of just validate what we, are experiencing, because, I've heard a whisper of a man say hi. My wife heard the voice of a man say, hey. It's not get out, it's hi, it's hey.
Yeah.
And they've determined
good.
It is very good. Yeah. And they've determined that the energy in this house is exactly what I felt when I first walked in. It's that same warm, kind, loving energy. And what's interesting, my dog, when he would not sleep in our bedroom, he'd go up to the front of the house and sleep on the sofa every night. And that's where Harold and Martha both passed away. In the front of the house. And in real life, I found out from their son, who's still alive and I talked to, I flat out asked him if this house was haunted, number one, because I'm like, my dog won't sleep in my bedroom, and this has never happened before in any house. Is this house haunted? And he's like, I don't know if it's haunted. I don't remember anything happening when I lived there, because he grew up here in the 60s.
Yeah.
But he did tell me that his parents did both pass away in the family room. His mother was the kindest soul. His dad was very religious, but also kind, loving man. And he said, if anything's haunting the home, I'd know it would be my parents were very kind, and they also really, really loved dogs.
Oh,
so
that's
we like to
probably.
Yes, yeah, he's going out to see the Monroes. He wasn't scared of what was in our bedroom.
Yeah, he just wants to be with them. That's really sweet.
Yes. Yeah, it's really, really odd. And to this day now, like, he has to sleep in bed with us now to sleep in our bedroom. Like, but when it storms overnight, he makes me now literally take him out of the bed, and I have to go to the front of the house and sleep with him in the front room on the sofa for him to calm down and go to sleep. Aww. It's the weirdest thing.
Weird, but sweet.
Yeah. It's not, there've been a few times, I'll be honest, that I've been a little freaked out. I did hear a dog in the kitchen that wasn't there. According to the medium who comes here, she sees this German Shepherd every time she comes here, and especially in the kitchen. And I literally heard a dog behind me in the kitchen turn around, and there was nothing there.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there've been definitely several really attention-getting events in the past couple of years in this home, but yeah. Now I'll get to the stuff that's not so. That's
not so good. You have some good ghost haunting, and then there's got to be a twist.
Yeah. So this is where it goes a little south. So as I'm reading and meeting neighbors and asking questions about people who lived in the neighborhood in this house and whatever, I find out that there was a man next door. His name was Sam, and Sam was good friends with Walt, who passed away in this house in 2023. They both moved in about the same time. I think Walt moved in the late 80s in this house, and I think Sam moved in next door in the early 90s. So they knew each other for a while. But Sam was a former military guy, just like Walt was. I think Walt served in World War II in the Navy, and I think Sam served in Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken, but he may be in Korean War, I don't know. But unfortunately, one day in July of 2017, Sam decided to go back into the backyard, and he shot himself in the head.
Wow.
And committed suicide in the backyard next door.
Yeah. So that was next door, though.
Next door, correct, yes. He... although it was next door, we think he is one of the spirits that visits this house. We think the reason he's visiting this house is because what I'm doing right now is I'm talking about him. It's as simple as that. Sometimes it's just talking about somebody that's a spirit and that's moved on. But when I say moved on too, it's like in this house they can go back and forth. It's not like they're trapped like on the other side, or they're trapped here in purgatory. It's like they can come and go as they please. So, we don't have things happen here every day, but that's what, when stuff does happen, it really does. It's memorable and grabs your attention for sure. Yeah. So Sam committed suicide, unalived himself. There goes the TikTok.
TikTok.
And then I found out on the other side of us next door, in 1911, a girl named Irene Lauterbach passed away of typhoid fever when typhoid fever swept through the area. I found an article 2 houses down from mine. In 1998, an 18-year-old murdered his grandmother with his bare hands in the upstairs of the home.
Wow.
And the police found satanic symbols in his bedroom. I didn't really investigate the case beyond just what I read in the headlines, because it's 2 doors down from me, and I don't.
Yeah, you don't want to know
deep into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What year did you say that one was in?
1998.
1998. So kind of towards the end of the Satanic Panic. So.
Yeah. What's interesting too, though, when I met a neighbor who's lived here a long time, and he's seen this transition. I mean, we live in, it's an urban area, and this area went through gangs and drugs, and still kind of a transitional kind of area in a way, but it's not like it used to be. It's like this is now a historic district, and it's beautiful. I mean, Taylor Sheridan films Lioness in my neighborhood. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his shows. Films like Landman down here and all kinds of shows. So it's a really picturesque, beautiful area, but it just has such a dark history, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, so a couple houses down from the grandmother house, across the street. In 1999, almost a year to the date later, there was a couple in their 60s who were murdered brutally. Somebody broke into the back of the house and attacked them. I don't know if there were any weapons involved, but I know it was a very violent struggle. And that case has never been solved. Then I found another article, 12 houses down from mine. In 2020, a 4-year-old was killed by her mother, who was hearing a voice that said if she didn't do it, something worse was going to happen to her daughter. So she took a knife and she slit her throat.
Yeah.
She put her in a garbage can in the backyard and called 911 to report her missing. And obviously they figured out what was going on. She was obviously schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
And she's now in prison, I think, for 50 years.
Wow. Yeah.
In 1914, I found an article about a kid named Ray Roberts, who was 15. He was going to go hunting at a farm with his 2 friends. And they decided to cut through the rail yard across the street from me. And for some reason, Ray tried to climb up on top of the boxcar, and his rifle went off. It struck him in the head, and he fell to his death 10 feet in front of his friends from the top of the boxcar. And one of his friends ran to my home to have the ambulance called for Ray. And Ray is one of the spirits that we believe actually peeps on my wife in the bathtub.
Huh. That's
based off of some of the research and the investigations that have been done. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because he was younger.
I guess.
I don't know. Weird choice in the afterlife.
Yeah. And then there was an apartment home like 5 or 6 houses up from ours in 1923 that exploded and damaged and destroyed several homes on my block. And then the house directly behind that house, there was a 3-year-old that was run over by a trolley car in front of the house in 1919. And then in that same house in 1930, a 60-year-old man possibly spontaneously combusted.
Which is very rare.
It's very rare.
So your neighborhood, either it's just that every house has more history than you think, or your neighborhood has a particularly unlucky streak here. Yeah. I mean, and this is, I have more stuff I could tell you. It just goes on and on and on. But so this is how the book Ghostwriter came to be. Because, when I told you when I moved into this house, I felt a connection to it before I found out about the writer who passed away. And then once I found out about him, I went crazy on the research. And then after all that research and everything, I'm like, okay, this sounds like a movie. This is crazy. So I didn't know what to do with it. And that's when it turned into a book by Jennifer Brasington-Crowley, who lives in Cincinnati, and I used to know when I lived back in Cincinnati. Yeah. I'm really glad you were able to get her to write a book about it, and I'm really excited to read the book. So you still live in the house, obviously, because the ghosts that are haunting you are, for the most part, kind of benign, other than the one peeping Tom, but...
Right.
Had you ever, had any paranormal experiences before you moved into that house, or was that kind of your doorway into that?
I mean, there have been a few little weird things in the past, which when I go back and look at them now, I told you, now I don't believe in coincidence after moving into this house. So when I look at those things and back then, I don't think it was a coincidence either that those things happen. There would be one thing that happened actually when we lived in Ohio, which was kind of strange, but my wife, her mother, so my mother-in-law, one night she told us a few days after it happened, but she said that she saw her mother come to the foot of her bed. And it was very vivid and real. And the funny thing is, the same night that she said that her mom came to visit her in her bedroom, our radio, and we had do you remember those little under the counter radios? Yeah,
I do.
We had this little under the counter radio downstairs, and all of a sudden around 3ish in the morning, when she said her mother came in, it went off. And it was really, really loud. And it was the only time that it didn't have a timer on it. It was it just turned on by itself, and it was so loud it woke me up, and I had to go downstairs to turn it off. Of course, it was on WLW radio, right? Of course.
Yeah.
But no, so that was very odd to me because it was the same time that it happened to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so strange.
And I know they've seen an orb. My in-laws have actually seen an orb. They actually called the police in Ohio. because they saw this orb floating in front of the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what it was. And the police came and they saw it too.
Oh, and they were like,
finally,
yeah, we
just
don't know.
like flew away. And so I don't know what that would have been. Now that wasn't, didn't involve me, but
yeah.
I mean, there's so many people that have stories. Like I'm not, unique, I don't think in any way, shape or form, because I don't know if you've had experiences, but it seems like everybody you talk to, somebody knows somebody or they've had an experience. Yes. It's not uncommon.
Yep. Especially in Ohio. For some reason, Ohio is just a hotbed of weird things happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Texas too, and part of that might just be how gigantic Texas is, but there's some weird stuff happening there.
Texas definitely has some history. Yeah, and then the land. I started looking into the land here because people are like, "Oh, you should look into the land," and I'm like, "Okay." So I look into the land, and this used to be Comanche territory. So when the Comanche, they were here, like I think in the 1600s. They have a history in this land for a long time, and then the settlers, of course, come in. And then the Comanche would attack the settlers and kill the settlers and take the women sometimes. And so then the Texas Rangers were formed to protect the settlers from the Comanche raids. And then they would fight the Comanche, and then the Army came in to establish Fort Worth in 1849 to also protect the settlers from the Comanche. So all over this land, there literally have been skirmishes and battles, and I mean, possibly right here where I sit. I do know buffalo roamed through this land freely at one point, and also there was a cattle trail in my neighborhood, a couple streets over, that they used to do cattle drives up north to the stockyards, right through my neighborhood.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, you have a bustling neighborhood as far as interesting events.
Yes, yes.
Your friend Jennifer, who we were talking beforehand, you kind of had to coax her into writing the book. Has she gone in the house, or is she like, I don't want to go in there at all?
Well, so she lives in Cincinnati. I live in Fort Worth. So she never has been to the home. Like we just worked basically over the phone.
Yeah.
And that's how we wrote the book together. I basically fed her all the true stuff, and then she weaved it into a even darker horror novel. Yeah, when I first approached her, I didn't even know really what this was going to be. I'm like, but because I wanted to write the true story, because I think the true story is crazy in its own right.
Yeah.
But she's like, yeah, it's just we don't have enough material, for a book. But she's like, you literally live on like Nightmare on Elm Street for real, and your house is haunted for real. So she thought like an obvious choice would, let's do a horror fiction, Sorry about that.
Oh, you're okay. I heard that right before we started too, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a cuckoo clock."
Yeah, we got a lot of old clocks in this house. So she suggested, take it the historical fiction horror route, and inspired by all these true stories, which was cool. But yeah, she said no at the beginning because in real life, she's terrified of this stuff.
Yeah.
So for her to actually write this book, she had to go way outside of her comfort zone. Her normal genre is like rock star romances and children's books.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I've never written a book before, so I was just like, we didn't even have a story. Like, we had to come up with everything. So we came up with a really cool backstory that involves Hell's Half Acre, which is actually a real place 4 miles from my home. That used to be like the wild, wild west. Excuse me 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
He was like scratching at the door. This is the dog that wouldn't sleep in our bedroom.
Yeah.
By the way.
I wasn't sure if that was your dog, or I was like, oh, maybe one of the spirits is like, hello. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's dog though.
Yeah. That would be cool. Although, it's funny. I've done several podcasts, and a couple of them, there was some really weird stuff that happened, and they lost like everything on their ends of the interviews.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, and there's been some things that like sometimes I'll get cut off, and it will just go like something weird will happen. So far we're perfect tonight. So this is good.
So far so good, but there's still time for something to crackle through.
Exactly. So I think once Jennifer understood the scope of the story and how it's not just, like a book, it's like I think she was like, okay, I'm gonna take a chance and I'm gonna go out of my comfort zone and I'm gonna write this book, and it took 8 months from start to finish. It's a 318-page novel, and it's been compared to books like The Shining and The Haunting of Hill House and The Conjuring and The Amityville Horror. So, I mean, it's that's an absolute honor, I would think, to be in that category for her to be, her first horror novel. Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
She's a really good writer. She graduated from the EW Scripps School of Writing, and she does, I think, her normal job. They're 9-to-5ers in the writing thing, doing stuff. But her passion is writing, her own stuff. So.
So she's probably not going to write another horror novel then.
I don't know. I hope she does. I really want her to continue on, and I don't want to have to find another author for the next stuff, but we'll see. We'll see. So far, so good. The book's actually doing really well for an independent release, and I mean, we'll see what happens. I would love to have her on the next one, though, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Maybe she's just waiting for you to move into another haunted house.
Maybe. Actually, the next book is going to take place on the street behind me, because the house that is going to be the haunted house, per se, on the street behind us will be the one where the guy possibly spontaneously combusted in real life.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, I found about multiple crimes on the street behind me, so I have 3 more true crimes on the street behind me that will inspire the next book.
Yeah, you've got
like
no end of
house.
Yeah.
3 true crimes is the weird formula that fits into a horror novel. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yes.
And it really is strange that it seems like you've only gotten the mostly pleasant ghosts at your house. Does it feel like your house is like kind of protected somehow?
Yes. 100%. And that's what the medium actually feels too. When she comes here and she talks about this house, and it's a really weird, it's hard to explain. It's sometimes a really weird energy, but it's not like a negative heavy. It's electrical. My hair, on my arm stands up when you sometimes can feel it, and then when you feel that energy, then more stuff usually happens, like the TVs will start turning off or on. So I've always heard that when spirits can get more energy, they can do more stuff. And it's like, we've kind of experienced that in this house, and when you can actually feel the energy change.
That's so interesting that you mentioned TVs, like specifically. One of my friends growing up, their mom died in their house, and we always got this like feeling that her mom was kind of protecting us from like whatever other spirits were around. And one of the things that would happen there is like this TV there would turn on by itself, and it would always turn on to static, and we would turn it off, come back through, and it would be on again. And there was another time we came back through and the static was on again, so we unplugged it, and then we came back through and it was on again, unplugged, which was the freakiest thing. And I think I left immediately, even though it was like, this feels protective. I still am creeped out.
Yeah. It can still creep you out sometimes, even if you're right, if it feels loving and protective, because sometimes you just start thinking about like, oh my God, this is really happening.
Yeah.
Like, this is real.
Electricity does not work that way.
No. And so, and the thing is too, like people were like, oh, it's just, your TV's malfunctioning or blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, like this, it doesn't happen like all the time. Like it's only happened maybe 3 or 4 times since we've lived here. And we've lived here 2 years. So like when it does happen though, and you feel the energy shifting in the room while it happens, it's like, this is something different. And especially when your dog stares at a chair and there's nothing in the chair and won't come into the room when you're calling your dog into the room because she won't go past the chair because she's staring at something in the chair. Like, things like that happen in this house every now and then. And you're like, okay, and then that's why we had it investigated too, because we wanted to make sure that everything was the way we felt it was in the house and what they thought. And and they've caught some stuff, with their equipment, and we've had some really wild things happen. They did something called the Estes method, which we actually made communication with Walt through the Estes method, where he had me tell my neighbor hi for him. It's a crazy long story, but yeah, there's so many things that, and I didn't believe in the medium too until the second investigation, when she hit something so specific that my wife and I were like, okay, there's no way she would have known. There's no way she could have known. So those things do happen. And when those things happen, it just makes you that much more of a believer in all of this stuff. I mean, I don't know.
When stuff's completely like always coming back as like just reinforcing that, it's like, oh, this is freaky. And that's also interesting that you mentioned the Estes method, because you said the book is kind of like The Shining, which takes place at in the book, it is the Stanley Hotel. In real life, it is, the Stanley Hotel.
Estes Park, Colorado.
Yes, it's Estes Park, Colorado. The Overlook is the name of the hotel in the book. That's what it is. I was getting it backwards for a second, yeah. But yeah, it's in Estes Park, Colorado, so it's interesting, that kind of connection there too.
And I was very skeptical of the Estes method, because they had me put the headphones on, and all I heard was like bap, 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 like I couldn't make anything out, and it was kind of freaking me out too. But yeah. So I mean, do we have time? I can tell you the Estes method story. Or?
Yeah, we got time.
Okay. So it was the third investigation, and Georgia, the medium, had the headphones on, the statics cranked up so she can't hear anything. And my wife was holding an iPad with one of those programs they use that spirits can supposedly pick out dictionary words and whatever, put names on the screen, I don't know how that works, but anyway, my wife was holding the iPad in her hand with that program running, and all of a sudden the medium says, "I am Walt," really loud, out of the blue. And skeptical brain me was like, okay, she's already been here 2 times. She knows Walt passed away in in our guest room February 3rd, 2023. She knows all about him because we told her about him the first 2 times. So I don't know, but to me then, she doesn't have social media. She's like a psychiatric nurse in real life. She coded, and then things happened, and it's another weird story. But yeah, I didn't have any reason to doubt her, but I just kind of doubted that she heard that for some reason. Yeah. But as she said, "I am Walt," then my wife's little screen thing says the words Jordan, Jordan 2 times. Jordan, Jordan. Huh. And Jordan is our next door neighbor who actually moved in 2018, befriended Walt because Walt lived here. Walt was older, didn't really have anybody. So Jordan became very close, him and his wife, with Walt, because he would just take care of him, make sure he had cigarettes and his coffee. That's all he cared about. Yeah. Helped him with the lawn work, took him to the doctor if he needed it, whatever. So they became really good friends, right? So when I saw Jordan, Jordan, she said, "I am Walt," and Jordan, Jordan. So Rose, she knows about Jordan because Jordan's name came through. It seems like it comes through on that thing every time they come here. Yeah. We told her all about Jordan. So she asked Georgia, who had the headphones on, she said, "Walt, what, would you like us to tell Jordan something?" And Georgia immediately goes, "Hi," really loud, "Hi." Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, so she said, "I am Walt." The thing says Jordan, Jordan. She asked, "Is there anything you want us to tell Jordan?" "Hi." So of course I feel compelled to tell Jordan that Walt says hi. Well, the next morning I go over, and I'm in the backyard, and he was in his backyard. So I said, "Hey," oh God, I got to tell him
that I had a medium come over, and
I asked him when we first moved in if the house was haunted too, because my dog wouldn't sleep in the bedroom, and I'm pretty direct about that stuff. It was weird. Maybe these houses are old, so yeah, I'm sure there was some. And I do know there are other stories of other houses and things, not so nice, by the way. But anyway, so I said, "Hey, I don't know really how to say this other than Walt says hi," and he's like, looks at me, he's like, "You did?" What? And so anyway, he goes in after I told him. He goes into the house and he talks to his wife, who told me this later, and she's like, "Oh," she said, "Yeah, he came in after you told him that." She's like, "Oh my God." She said, "Brian just told me that Walt says hi." And he's like, "Yesterday, when I was flying home from Nashville to DFW, he was flying over where Walt's buried in Arlington, Texas, and had looked down at the cemetery and said, "Hello, Walt."
Oh. And so Walt just wanted to say hi back.
At night is when they came over, and that's when Walt said hi back.
That's awesome.
So let's just say I'm kind of a believer in the Estes method now. So I was so excited to tell the paranormal people in the medium. I'm like, oh my God, this is a groundbreaking case. I'm like, it's the Estes method. It's real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, has that ever happened to you before? And they're like, oh yeah, it happens all the time.
I also just love that Walt, he's like, I'm haunting here, but I just want to tell my neighbor hi.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
So my neighbor's always like, I just want to make sure he's okay. I'm like, dude, he's more than okay. He just literally kind of used me to tell you hello. And after you said hi to him, you said hi to him first.
That's really awesome.
Let's just say my neighbor believes now.
Yeah. So has your neighbor started coming over when there's paranormal investigators now?
No, they're still not really.
They're not that into it.
That comfortable. They're a little freaked out by it, I think, honestly. So I respect that. But they'd come over every now and then. We had a Christmas party. We didn't do any spirit talking or that kind of thing. But we actually are friends now with the paranormal people. They're from Burleson, Texas, which is about 20 minutes from here. And then the psychic medium's out of the town called Denton, Texas, which is about 45 minutes from here.
Yeah.
But we're friends with them now. I mean, it's crazy. And I just reached out on social media to anyone I could find, and nobody would respond to me because they thought I was probably crazy, which I am, but
not that kind of crazy.
Not that kind of crazy, right? So, but it was great when we met them because Rose is a stickler for history. She actually gave ghost tours at the stockyards, the Fort Worth stockyards. So she knows all about the stockyards history and the Fort Worth history. And so we got along fantastically well because, like I said, if you don't know the history, you can't solve the mystery. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You can get all kinds of messages and you will never understand them if you don't actually understand the history of what happened there to understand what is communicating with you.
100%.
Yeah, actually, when they went in, did they prefer to know about the history first, or did they want to investigate and then know it after?
No,
yeah, I kind of prefer that.
Anything.
Yeah, I kind of prefer that.
Especially the psychic medium.
Yeah.
And it was funny because when she came in, she had told us about a spirit in the bathroom who likes to look out the window, and she didn't know that my wife was in the backyard and the curtain was pulled back like somebody was peeping out at her. And that would be the spirit of Ray Roberts, the 15-year-old who accidentally killed himself at the train yard across the street.
Yeah.
So it's been definitely an interesting experience moving into this home. It's completely changed my life, but it got me back into creating and writing again. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that I just love is the fact that it's felt like I was just drawn to this home to get me back into doing something I'm passionate about. Yeah.
Well, and especially with the clover tattoo right before you moved back, there. Well, not back there, but it feels like almost in some ways that Harold Monroe was like kind of like, go back to doing what you love.
And I think, honestly, he wanted to get his name back out there too, using me.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, think about it. He wrote for the New York Times, obviously he liked his name in the headlines. He liked to be in the paper. His picture was in the paper every day with his daily column here in Fort Worth. I mean, so he would have been kind of a local, celebrity guy back when people actually read newspapers. It was just, it was really interesting. Like I said, no coincidences anymore. And then I found out that Civil War soldier who passed away in my bedroom in 1914, he was actually born in Claremont County, Ohio. I lived in Hamilton County, Ohio, across from Claremont County, like a bridge.
Yeah, they're very
5
close.
Minutes from a bridge, like around the Loveland area.
Oh, that's actually where I'm from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I graduated from Sycamore High School in 1990.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I graduated from Loveland High School. So there.
Yeah, I lived off of Loveland Madeira Road.
Oh, I'm very familiar with it. I lived on Rancho Guinea.
There's a bridge that goes right across into Claremont County down there over the train track by Lake Isabella.
Yes.
And then my dad taught for Claremont County schools for several years. And so it was pretty wild to find out about, him being born in Claremont County, Ohio.
Yeah.
And then passing away all the way down here in Fort Worth, Texas, in my bedroom in 1914. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
A
wild.
lot of Indiana, Ohio connections in this house. There was a man named Harry Hagerman who was arrested in my home. He was renting a room in this house in 1920 for swindling somebody out of money in Kansas. And he was from Springfield, Ohio. And my dad grew up in Springfield, Ohio. My grandparents are buried in Springfield, Ohio. And so it's Harry Hagerman, buried in Springfield.
I used to work in Springfield, Ohio. Yeah, that's weird how that happens. I'm kind of curious too, the Union soldier. How familiar are you with the cartridge factory in Kings Mills?
I know it was a munitions factory, and then it did there was a big explosion there.
There's a big explosion. Yeah, and so that is also supposed to be really haunted. When we were kids, it was always like, ooh, go into and you shouldn't, because they were doing SWAT practices there, but it kind of makes me curious if he served there at all. So that'll be something fun for me to dig into, because
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure. I know, he fought in a lot of battles. He was captured at the Battle of Mumfordsville. I know that. And then he fought at the Battle of Nashville, I believe. Also the Battle of Chickamauga, of course, which is the second bloodiest battle in the Civil War. He fought at the Battle of Chattanooga, I believe. But there could have been some Ohio's, maybe. I don't know if he was in Ohio at all, because he moved to Indiana after he was born in Claremont County, and then he lived in Metamora, Indiana. So he was mustered in 1861 in Indianapolis, and then went to 1865 when he was discharged, and then he went back to Metamora and was a saloon keeper.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he moved all around everywhere.
Yeah, and then ended up here in Fort Worth, Texas, passing away in my house. Isn't that crazy?
And that isn't that the most strange, because that's so far away from everything else.
Yeah, and that's why, it's like there's a weird Midwest connection to this house with the Indiana stuff too, because Walt, the guy who passed away in 2023, was from Angola, Indiana.
Yeah.
And then a lady who lived here in 1911, from 1911 to 1915, she was actually from Anderson, Indiana. She passed away in Anderson, Indiana. She passed away at her sister's house, close to Anderson, but then was buried in her hometown of Anderson. When I lived in Ohio and Michigan, I used to go to Indiana, Anderson, specifically to visit my cousins who both grew up in Anderson, Indiana. My uncle even knows where she's buried.
Yeah.
She passed away at age 39 of colon cancer, but she lived here from 1911 to 1915.
Yeah.
So another Indiana person.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like it pulls everyone from the Midwest there.
I don't know why.
Maybe just because it feels at home.
Maybe that's why I felt it too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely could be
part of the Midwest connection. Although Harold was from Massachusetts, and then I know his wife Martha was from Oklahoma. Because this house was originally rented. So the bedrooms were always pretty much rented from 1911 all the way until about the 50s, when the Monroes moved in and stopped.
Oh yeah. So lots of people kind of coming through.
Lots of people coming through. Yeah, and I have a list of pretty much every one of the people that have been in this home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and their profession, their date of birth, their date of passing, if they had any kids, that kind of stuff. Yeah, we put a book together that we have all that info. And then also, of course, the articles about the true crime stuff on the street. And so, yeah, very, very interesting. But yeah.
Yeah. Has Martha been seen as much as Harold and Walt?
I would say the most, probably it kind of goes in spurts sometimes, but recently it seems like Walt's been the one that's been around the most. But then also I would say Martha is probably second. I would say then probably Harold, then probably Sam.
Yeah.
Then probably Ray, possibly Elisha. Possibly Viola in an intelligent fashion. Viola is actually seen in our kitchen. She's a residual haunt, though, according to the medium, where she's pacing back and forth between where the original stove was and the sink is.
Yeah.
And we think it's her, and we think it's her pacing before she had to leave here, knowing she was going to pass away.
Yeah, just kind of that little loop in time, just stuck.
Yes, like that energy, just that it was just such a really tragic situation, and she was just so distraught, just pacing. back and forth, knowing she had to leave to say goodbye to her family one last time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's understandably distressing, and that kind of makes sense of why that would be kind of imprinted in time, if anything.
Which is why I'd like to, communicate with her in an intelligent fashion to let her know that, I know you had some good times in this house too. It wasn't all negative.
Yeah.
Christmases and holidays with her daughter and her new husband, and and I could go into the history of all of those people who lived here first, and then the people next, and it's because I took this very seriously, and I literally was obsessed with it's kind of when the book was done. It was just like this, it was like giving birth to a baby, I mean, it's such a relief that it was just all done, because there was just so much involved going into this whole thing that I didn't really realize at the time. But Jen, I think, was happy with the amount of research I did, because it really helped make her job a little bit easier, as far as having content to work with.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm glad you're able to get that all down on paper, because I feel like so much of this stuff in the past has been like oral tradition, so it's not always been written down. So it's good to have it all on paper where it is, sort of like kept for future generations.
Exactly. The book that we made, we're actually going to add to it. We added our information, and we're going to add to it and things that we do here and stuff about us. And then, hopefully keep that book in this house forever. So the next person that can come in will have a complete catalog of the history of the home, and then they can add to their history as well.
Yeah. Are you gonna hide a copy of it in the walls or something?
No, just keep it out. Just keep it out
of.
Although maybe a copy in the walls. No, that's where you have to do the plastic skeleton.
Yeah, you got to put a plastic skeleton holding it in the walls.
Yeah.
Read this if you live here.
That's a good idea. Oh boy.
That's better than other things you could find in your walls. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, because in the book, my character finds a mysterious manuscript in the attic, and we kind of went back and forth about the manuscript thing, because it's kind of been done 1,000 times, and it's the movie like Sinister, and it's they always find the mysterious manuscript, but Jen made it really cool, because the mysterious manuscript my character finds in the attic just says Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't find that in real life, but in real life, Harold Monroe, the writer who inspired all this and passed in my family room, literally saw school kids taunting Lizzie Borden with that chant in the flesh. So I thought it was kind of cool how she tied that in.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Then the book goes completely different. That's what I find in the attic, but then something happens and it goes to a completely different direction. And so it's a pretty dark book, I will say. It's my mom didn't like it.
Some of that could have to do with the fact of, you are still living in that house. So she's probably maybe. Oh God, this is the stuff you're dealing with.
Well, I mean, in the book though, there things in the book happen in this house. I wouldn't live in this house. I wouldn't be talking to you right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, so you'd be like, I'm moving right now.
But but the street though, in real life, I mean, it's just like, I was telling you about that. Remember the satanic panic thing we were talking about? When I talked to that neighbor that's lived here for a long time, he did say there was a history of dark satanic worship at an apartment complex in the neighborhood in the late 90s, early 2000s. Seriously dark satanic worship at an apartment complex in the neighborhood. So in the book, it's interesting. Jen decided to go really heavy into the Satan stuff. And at that time, I was like, I don't know. Because she wanted to do the Satan stuff because the 2 doors down from us, the kid, they found satanic symbols in his bedroom in real life. So she thought that would be cool to dive down the Satan thing. And I'm like, But then after she did it, and I talked to that neighbor after the book was written, he told me that actually there was a history of dark satanic worship in the neighborhood. So I was like,
you're like, well,
good job, Jen.
You picked up on that from miles and miles away.
Yeah. So there was some Satan stuff in the book, and I'm not big into Satan, so that was kind of a tough one.
Yeah.
But,
well, if you're going to make something spooky, it definitely makes it spookier.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the story.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we've experienced so far. It's an ongoing saga. I do TikTok live tours. So I at Ghostwriter House, I do have a TikTok that I use, and I take people around the home and I show them the spots where things happen, and I tell them the history and tell them the stories. And so I do that, which is a lot of fun. And I love coming on to talk to people about this, like, podcasts and things like this with you, which I appreciate you reaching out and getting back to me, because I thought you'd really, I was so excited to see Cincinnati, Ohio. Yes, I got a Cincinnati person finally.
Yes, finally.
Yes, yeah. So that was very, very cool. So I appreciate this so much. You don't even know.
No problem at all. I'm so excited you reached out, and when you just reached out, you were like, I live in a haunted house, and I was like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to. Well, some people too think this is a big ploy to sell a book. So I think a lot of times they don't want to even talk to me because they're like, oh, this is just a big ploy to sell a book, and it's not that at all. Like, if you actually listen to the story, like, it's amazing the book even exists, honestly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The book's kind of like, it got me back on track of doing something I love in my life. But I think this is bigger than just a book. I think this is more. I'm not sure what it is yet, but I hope we can create a lot of good with this book.
Yeah.
So much darkness in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would love to be able to help people fix their houses up and, flip some older houses and restore them and really, really put it back into the community. Yeah. That's a great goal. And I mean, the book has a great rating on Goodreads right now too. So it's getting out there, and hopefully it's getting there. It takes a while.
Yeah.
The independent author game is a tough game, man.
It's a
I
very
had no
tough
idea.
game. Yeah.
Are you an author?
No.
No.
I've written some things that are in some books, but I would not consider myself an author.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy, man. So I was so happy when Jennifer decided to finally give it a try and do it. And I'm like, we just need to work on her for the next one, man. Yeah, Jennifer. You got to write the next one. We are doing an audiobook right now, by the way, too. I did hire a narrator,
Awesome.
And she's amazing. And we are going to do a lot of really cool audio stuff in the book, and also include sounds from investigations that were conducted inside of my home in the audiobook as well. Yeah. Well, we're gonna try to make it scary. Yeah, you gotta really get all the evidence you can in there. My favorite scary stories are the ones that are based on true stories, whether or not the story is completely true to what actually happened, you have to take some liberties here and there. Well, and that's what makes I think this story is so interesting, because, movies like The Conjuring and movies like the Amityville Horror and stuff like that, The Shining, it's inspired by true stuff. But mine's inspired by true stuff, not just in my house, but on my block, basically, like the street. It's like the whole, not just the street is haunted, but the whole neighborhood, honestly. Like I said, I could go into detail on some other stuff that I found out that happened that I don't even really like to say. Man, wow. I was like, where did we move? I asked my wife, I'm like, what the heck? I just wanted an old house. I didn't know we're moving into, Elm Street, for God's sakes. And but it's not like that in real life. You see this neighborhood, it's beautiful. I mean, most of the homes are from the 1890s to the 1930s. It's picturesque. It's beautiful old trees and everything from cottages to mansions. And it's, but it's just the history is just so completely opposite of what you see. It's it was definitely a kind of a shock, but here we are. Yeah. And I know true crime people always like this stuff. Oh, true crime people love this stuff. True crime people like and I'm not really a true crime person when it's in my neighborhood. Yeah, you don't want it to be real. No, I'll be a true crime person in somebody else's neighborhood. That's entirely valid. Yeah, I mean, people are always like, do you have REM pods in your house and spirit boxes? I'm like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I live here. I don't want to stir anything up. I have people that come here and do that and know what they're doing. No. And the funny, can you imagine 3:00 in the morning, my kitchen, a REM pod going. Honey, can you get up and check the REM pod? I have this theory that people who want to live in a haunted house never will because they want it too bad. Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
You're kind of right. Yeah. It's like, and we didn't even we joked about this place being haunted because I did know about Martha's passing, but she was 93. I came across it when I was doing just some Google stuff on the house, and I came across her obituary. She passed away in the home again, Halloween 2009. It said peacefully at home, so I knew she passed away at home. I didn't know where until her son. She passed away in the family room, so I knew of her passing. But she was 93 years old. Wow. This was in 2009, and people pass away in homes. It happens.
Yeah, it happens more than most people would like to know.
Yeah, especially in neighborhoods that are from this, era, because people died at home. They didn't go to the house. I mean, so that it's not really that unusual. So we weren't really freaked out, other than it was Halloween, which I thought was kind of weird. I'm like, oh my God.
That is odd, but what a perfect day for, a soul to pass on.
You are listening to Strange Talk on Radio Artifact on 1660 AM in Northside and 91.7 FM HD2 WVXU in Cincinnati.
Oh my God, and she loved Halloween, I found out in real life. Aww. So, and Halloween in our neighborhood is like a religion. People come from all over to trick or treat, because it's like, it's like you're walking back in time in this neighborhood. So
that's
a lot of old old haunted mansion looking places, and it's super cool. So it was very interesting to find out that she loved Halloween in real life so much, and she passed away on Halloween.
Yeah. She wanted to get one more in.
She is one of the spirits in the home. That's the thing. We were laughing that she wouldn't be, and it wouldn't be haunted. But yeah, Martha is definitely a known entity in the house for sure.
That's so cool.
Well, and she's lovely. She's a lovely woman.
She's lovely. She just wants to keep Halloween going.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're at the top of the hour, so if there's anything you want to say, and if you want to tell people where to find this book.
Yeah. Let's see. So the book is called Ghost Writer, not writer like Nicolas Cage. Writer, Writer, by Jennifer Brasington-Crowley. Mm-hmm. It is on Amazon. It is $15 for the paperback, and we made the Kindle edition $3.17 in honor of Harold Monroe passing away on March 17th.
Oh, yeah.
Also in the book, the Amazon Alexa goes off at 3:17 in the morning and plays some really kind of creepy songs. So look for that. 3:17 in the morning, again, March 17th.
Yes.
And the whole 4-leaf clover thing here, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
So 3:17 for the Kindle edition. And then we're working on the audiobook as we speak.
Yes,
that will be released March 17th, again, in honor of Harold, 2026, of course. And then we're going to probably do a special edition hardcover with some special art for the hardcover edition that would hopefully release as well on the 17th.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Kind of in the works right now. And I'm also researching as we speak for the second book, which I, again, need an author for if Jennifer says no.
Yeah. So if Jennifer says no, then... Anybody listening?
I think if this book sells enough, then I can afford to pay her on the front end this time. I think she'd be like, okay.
And then she'd be like, okay, fine.
Yeah. It's like I had to do a split with her. Like we're splitting 50-50 from here on out.
Yeah.
So no matter what happens, because I couldn't afford to pay her up front. And like when you pay a writer, I mean, it can be in the thousands of dollars.
Oh, yeah. Easily. Writing is difficult.
I am eternally grateful to Jen as well for even taking this on.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us and telling us all about your haunted house and how you you didn't bully your friend into writing a book, but you got her to.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get, see if Jen could come on too, like, because it's funny getting her perspective on stuff too. It's but we'll see. I know she's having a little bit of writer's block for her normal stuff right now. So hopefully she'll say, hey, you want to start that second book?
Well, if Jen ever wants to come on, or your medium or any of the paranormal investigators ever want to talk about some of the evidence they've gotten there, we're totally happy to have them come on.
Absolutely. That'd be amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to coordinate. It's so hard trying to coordinate everybody, but I would love to, like, I know they're totally open to it for sure. Yeah. So it's just a matter of coordinating it. But yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. You have our email and you can hit us up anytime.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it was nice to talk to you and nice to meet you.
Yeah, so nice to talk to you and so nice to meet you. And on that note, we'll go ahead and sign off for the night. So good night and good luck.
All right. Thank you very much.